Hey folks, Studio here, bringing you a game between Monomaniac eSports and Team Dignitas. We haven't gone through picks, so let's go through those very quickly while we load. For Nintendo decks, we have Broloff, Zon Spartan, Zon Lee Sin. Janna is being played by Pixel 3, Zig is on Kog'Maw, and Paradoxical is on Morgana. For Team Dignitas, we have I Will Dominate on Mundo, I'm a Cutie Pie on Ashe, Scar on Rise, Locust on Soraka, and Vladimir is being played by Voyboy. So very standard teams for both teams, actually. The compositions are very reflective of the team. So this is not a super initiating team. They have Morgana, but that's their initiation for Monomaniac. They're going to be relying mostly on a catch binding, or most likely, because this is how Monomaniac plays, they're going to be very aggressive, go for these really, really heavy gank style plays. Make it so that they're not going to win because they have the best initiation, they're going to win because they're miles ahead of their opponents 20 minutes into the game. So Kog'Maw, rather than being the late game super carry, is just going to be a carry because he's so far ahead of the other team. Mostly in terms of global gold. We have a ward coming out here from Monomaniac eSports, and Scar has been spotted. The Q comes out from Zon Spartan and hits him quite well. So that's actually a pretty good catch. It's not going to be normal in the sense that, well, we got a kill. Awesome. But with Scar at half health, without that Rise damage, we're not going to see a Dignitas fight. It's going to be much riskier if they do, with or without Scar at this point. So, instead of going for a fight, they could try and counter jungle, but this has been warded. Also, Dignitas knows that Monomaniac's here. They know they like to steal. So, they're going to go ahead. They have to jungle normally. I Will Dominate's been spotted. If they go here, they'll be spotted and possibly killed. And with I Will Dominate being spotted, this is just going to be free reign for Monomaniac. We're going to have Zig go back to the bot lane. Pixel 3 should be heading back there pretty soon. There we go. And just a great steal. A very strong opening for Monomaniac. The question is, who will the red buff go to? It could easily go to Lee Sin, just for some extra top lane dominance. Most likely we'll just go to let's see, Nintendo decks. And we have a ward coming out from Locust. There it is. It's going to have vision of these wraiths and have vision of this ramp. But as you can tell, Monomaniac knows. They saw it go down. The pings came out like crazy. So great job by Monomaniac having that ward coverage and map control. And it looks like it's going to go to Nintendo decks. So the matchup seems like it'll be pretty normal. I'm fairly sure it's going to be a standard laning setup. We're going to have, Vladimir spot on the top lane, very briefly. Skara is in mid against Paradoxical, and we have a normal 80 support lane versus an 80 support lane. This lane should be very passive, as I Will Dominate is currently invading. The cleaver goes out on red buff. He should be trying to seal this, and, well, Monomaniacs know. So we have Pixel 3 and Zig coming up to try and stop him. Paradoxical's coming too. He's been spotted. He knows he's in trouble. The red buff goes to him. Scar's trying to stop Nintendo decks. Can't quite do it. I Will Dominate slowed. He's going to die. Who will get the kills? Question. And it goes to Pixel. Okay. So that's not the worst thing, because Pixel 3 getting a double buff is going to be awesome for the bot lane. That's a bunch of shields they're going to get. Just Zig will never, ever, ever take damage. Ever, ever, ever. And it's going to make his laning just super safe, super strong. If Pixel 3 ever gets an auto attack off, Zig can supplement that with tons of damage, to quote Freak, because of the red buff slow and just general awesomeness that red buff is. It kind of works like the Nunu Cog lane, which is Nunu gets a snowball off, Kog'Maw can follow that up with a bunch of damage because they're slowed. And just Kog'Maw does so much damage on its own. We have a lot of pressure coming out on top lane between Voyboy and Zon Spartan. This is going to be a lane where they will constantly be aggressive because they're just two aggressive characters. Zon Spartan's going to try and land his W and auto attack, or land a Q and auto attack. Voyboy will try and use his Q, use his E just to pressure, and they're just going to pressure each other like crazy. It's funny though, because they both have a ton of sustain. Voyboy has it from his Q, and eventually his Woda and Revolver. And Nintendo decks, Zon Spartan has it from his W, his shield, which, well, I'm not clicking on him, but his shield, which will become Spellvamp and Lifesteal on its own. Zon Spartan actually has his, now I'm confusing Zon Spartan and Nintendo X. Nintendo X actually has his own lifesteal with Vicious Strikes. He gets lifesteal and Spellvamp. There's actually a lot of Spellvamp on this team. Between Morgana, Nintendo X, and Lee Sin, we have 3 Spellvampers passively. But it looks like Voyboy is going to be ganked here. Nintendo X trying to land. Will the X land? No, the reckless swings don't land either. The X misses 2, they don't go for this follow-up. A great pull by Boy, and his positioning just enough to get him inside that tower. Had he been a little farther out, they might have caught him. But will they catch him this time? The pull is on cooldown. The axe lands, the reckless swings land, and they're not going to go for this chase. If Zion Spartan had actually landed a Q a little sooner and dove on him, they could have actually got him there. But Boy's heal is still up, his ghost is still up, any sort of dive will be risky. As a Q lands, the axe goes out there, and nothing is really accomplished. Nintendo X spending a lot of time in this top lane, but he's already ahead, so it's okay. Para coming up for the supplementary gank. Boy dodges the pool, hits a minion, gonna go back to that mid lane. And Nintendo X should finally be going back at this point. That was a lot of time spent in the top lane, but it's gonna be nice. It'll help supplement Zion Spartan in his top laning. It's 31 CS to... how much is that? 24. So not a huge CS difference, as I Will Dominate was spawned up here in raids. This would normally be a big deal, but we see that Nintendo X, he's 0-1, and my chat is in a funny position. Let me go ahead and fix that so you can read all those announcements. There we go. So I Will Dominate was spotted, and Nintendo X knows he's about on equal levels. If we look at levels, I Will Dominate was still level 4 when he was spotted. Should be 5 by now, actually. And Nintendo X is level 5 too. And being at the same level as Amundo is actually a pretty big deal just because of how good he is in the jungle. Especially on this patch where he hasn't been nerfed at all. So looking at the bot lane, it looks like Nintendo X might actually be going for a gank here. Let's see. Locust was just spotted here. Locust is out of position, being hit by Zig. The slow comes out, the axes land. And Locust, rest in peace. The unicorn girl will not survive this day. Pings are going out onto Dragon, most likely going to be a ward rather than a actual attempt. Picking off Locust is pretty cool, but that's not the brunt of the damage, and if I Will Dominate nearby, they can always smite steal it. Looking across the map, though, laning is going pretty normally. We have Zion Spartan just kind of farming up top. Paradoxical kind of pushing in mid. And then with this death in the bot lane, Cutie Pie has to be very passive. He can't actually take any damage till Locust is relatively close to showing up. And they could feasibly kill him as pings go out onto the jungle. It looks like we have an invade. I Will Dominate might have been spotted. They also have timings on blue. I Will Dominate is seen. The Binding lands of Torment Soul lands. Axes land, and wow. That was a lot faster than I expected. That's quite a bit of damage coming out from Monomaniac. They blew him up. I Will Dominate just got dominated, and they're going to go for this dragon. Pixel 3 is leashing it, just to prevent some damage from going out. It looks like he went out a bit too far. Dragon leashing can be very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Testy? Where you expect things to happen, they happen quite often, but not always will you have that awesome dragon. Nintendo X is actually getting kind of low. We have Zig coming up. There is no ward here for Dignitas most likely, but if there is, they could feasibly kill Nintendo X. Nintendo X actually rushing out to give the leash to Paradoxical could have been the kill right there. As the ward comes down, I'm a Cutie Pie just like, wait, Nintendo X, I want to kill you. But they're not going to let that happen, not for free at least. Top lane we have Zion Spartan and Boy just kind of beating each other up, as they're prone to do. The kick comes out from Zion Spartan onto Boy. It looks like he might be going for a kill. Will it be enough? He ults onto Zion Spartan. Will he get out of there? Yes. And he won't take much damage from the ult either. Huh. So top lane is very, very funny, just because no one's actually going to die. They're just going to beat each other up nonstop. And with that sustain they both have, no one's ever going to even come close to dying. And if they do, they'll back up. The one case where somebody might die would be if Boy gets caught over here on the side of the map that belongs to Zion Spartan. But that most likely won't happen. Boy's a great player. Not going to let that happen. Of course, you factor in Pool and Ghost. It's tricky even with that. But we do have Paradoxical coming up here. This could be for a gank. It could be, well, most likely for a gank. I doubt they'll go for a great pushing attempt on the top lane at this very moment. Pings are going out onto the mid lane. I think they think I Will Dominate skanking. Oh, no, he is currently counter-jungling. Level 6 versus level 6. He will get out of this. The blue Wraith is stolen by... No. Yes. No. Yep. I Will Dominate stole the blue Wraith with a cleaver at the last second. Unfortunately, that axe from Nintendo X didn't seem to spawn it, and more importantly, it actually made it easier to kill. I believe that without the axe, I Will Dominate would have not been able to steal that with a cleaver, but just a bit of unfortunate circumstances, as the blue buff will be going to Mr. Paradoxical at this moment. What's cool about this is that blue buff is dying at the 9-minute and 28-second mark. That's an off timing. Normally, you'll see it picked up at the 7-minute mark, maybe the 8-minute mark, but the fact that it's being picked up so late means that we're not going to see normal timings come out for... Whoa. Well, we have a gank at the top lane as I Will Dominate is being towed on by Nintendo Dex and Zion Spartan. Sorry about that, but I Will Dominate's going low. It looks like Zion Spartan will get out. The Ash ult hits. He's out of tower range, though. Nintendo Dex, will he make it out? He's getting low. No, the shield lands. So not sure what happened there. Low replay seemed to have bugged out a bit, and I'm sorry about that. But we still caught the action, and that's what matters. Even if the action was started very, very suddenly. Pressure coming out on the Locust in the bot lane. He goes low. He will heal himself up, though. Up to 455 HP. He's got a health pot on, too. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. This bot lane, very passive. 2 hard carries, just trying to hard carry it up. Why do you need to be killing people as Kog'Maw? Why do you need to be killing people as Ashe? Especially when you're both hard carries. It's just not going to work. Neither side can really actually poke each other down, too, because the shield and Kog'Maw range is going to be too much for IMQDPie, and the volley crit combination from Ashe might be too much for IMQD for Ziggs. Ping's going out to retreat on the bot lane. They might suspect Skara is going for that gank. I Will Dominate is in the mid lane. Usually that's a sign that either Skara is buying or somewhere else trying to kill you. Red buff going to Nintendo Dex. A great time to pick it up. He might be going for some ganks now. You never want to use red buff to actually jungle, because, well, it's great for jungling. It does make it go much faster with the extra red buff damage, but, well, you want to use that slow. You want to use that damage because now your scary jungler is an even scarier ganker, which Nintendo Dex actually doesn't need as Olaf because he has a 28% slow on under 2 already. So that's a great slow. That's going to catch anybody and keep them in place. He is going for a gank here in the bot lane. He's going to go through these bushes, wait for these creeps to die, and then push into this bush. They have a pink ward in it, so they know it's safe, which is actually a very good job from Monomaniac eSports, because with that pink ward, it's no longer, well, let's risk it, let's spend some time going for these gank. They know they can't spot you in this bush. The exception is if Ashe uses her Hawk, which I haven't seen her use. We'll see if they can catch him, though. This is going to be a very hard gank to actually pull off, though, just because they're very pushed in. That volley might be enough to push them back out, and if IMQDPie keeps falling, that will get them in a good position. Oh, the Hawk goes out. Nintendo Dex spotted, sadly goes home, and the sustain fest in top lane is still going on. Now, this actually should be in favor of Voyboy. Let's check out the CS in the top lane, actually. It's 84 to 79. A little favor of Voyboy. The reason for this is that, alright, we have Zion Spartan can pressure like crazy, but he's melee, and Voyboy's ranged, and that's going to be enough to make a big difference in CS over the long term. Eventually, it's going to be that, oh yeah, Vladimir just pushes too hard and CS is too well. Paradoxical is coming up for a gank, though. Will this be successful? My guess is no, because apparently Voyboy is unkillable. But it might quite land. The binding is out there, so goes Torment Soil, and Voyboy was behind the tower rather than in front of it. Great job, Voyboy. You just saved yourself. Most likely not a kill, but quite a bit of damage. They might have blown a summoner. Maybe not, though. Pings are going out onto Blue Buff and Dragon. Dragon should be up relatively soon. Blue Buff should be up soon as well. This would be a great chance for a steal from Monomaniac. The ping goes out, the CV goes out. They spot Skara up here, going for this blue buff. I Will Dominate, not spotted. I think we're going to have an attempt at either a kill or a steal. Okay, this is a 3v1. It's not going to be a kill. Definitely a steal attempt. Can Paradoxical pull it off? The binding goes out there. It lands. It goes to Para. Great steal coming out there. Somebody else was just spotted in these bushes, though. So it looks like we're going to have a dragon fight. Possibly a dragon contention from Team Dignitas. This is a chance for Dignitas to do something, and they're not in a good position. It's 4-0, they've lost a dragon. All their towers are still up, which is pretty nice, but they're in a risky spot as Monomaniacs is spotted a dragon. Most likely will have a steal, or just a pick-off attempt from IMQDPie. He's pressuring. He's actually in a bit of a risky position. The CC comes out from Janna Pixel. There's not a lot I could say about that. Ashe just kind of died. I mean, alright, I'll cast that. Everybody used their skills and time Cutie Pie died. I wasn't quite sure what hit him, but it was enough just to melt him. I'm a Cutie Pie, that's all she wrote. It looks like Locust is going to be going for a dive here, as Nintendo X is just on him. The damage coming out onto I Will Dominate, is it enough? No, it's not quite enough for Locust either. But you know what? That wasn't such a big problem. They're not wasting much time there. They were all in the area. Might as well go for that gank anyways. At mid lane, it looks like we had a bit of pressure coming out and nothing happening. Voyboy up in this top lane, pushing up, trying to deny as much CS as possible to Zion Spartan. CS difference going to be in favor of Voyboy just because Zion wasn't in that top lane. And that CS wave, he'll lose a couple. Not going to be a huge deal because he has all the global gold from those 2 dragons, but it's what Voyboy wants to do, just pressure like crazy, apply that damage. Any little advantage you can get can snowball and be just major in these games, just because both teams are so good at taking advantage of each other. Fun little ward up here in the top lane. This will spot any sort of invasion, or not invasion, but gank from Rise or Mundo. The idea being if they come through this jungle, they'll come through this bush and be spotted here. It's a very strong and safe ward actually, especially because this ward doesn't actually cover the ganking route particularly well. If they come down through here, it will. If they come through here, it won't. And they're going to want to come through here most of the time. Blue buff looks like it will be going to Paradoxical. Blue buff looks like it will be going to Nintendo X. As I believe that was an accident. It could have been on purpose. Paradoxical blue buff should be wearing out soon, so it might have been a bit of a misplay, but they're far enough ahead where that won't matter too much, actually. Plus, Olaf with blue buff actually does quite a bit of damage. The cooldown on Reckless Swings, Undertow is actually about 1.9 seconds right now when he picks up an axe, which is huge. That's so fast. That's like 1,000,000,000% slow always. There's a bit of a push coming out on his tower. I Will Dominate takes a bit of damage, should be able to heal it up. But getting him to blow his ult before a fight is going to be great for Monomaniac. Ping's going out across the map. This tower might be going down. 592 HP. Now, it'll last for a little while, but 1 or 2 more waves and Ziggs will be killing this tower. Pings are out onto Scar. It looks like we have a dive coming out. Scar out of position for this. Ult comes out from Nintendo X. He does not get rooted. Scar is being chased. He is slowed. He is half HP. Zion Spartan's in there. Ult comes out from Locust. Will Scar survive? He's at the edge. He's at the edge. No, the Ignite kills him. Ult comes from Mr. Paradoxical. I Will Dominate is at half HP. Paradoxical exhausted. Will die. Ooh, that's kind of scary. As it happened in bot lane, we lost a tower. Well, Dignitas lost a tower. My towers are all fine. And kind of a bit of a misplay. Kind of. From Monomaniac eSports. So let's make sure something really quickly. There is no kill. Okay, there was no killing spree from either of those characters. Pretty big deal. But that was about 600 gold. And you factor in assists, about 1,000 gold that went to Dignitas right there. And they got about 500 themselves. So, not a great trade. You factor in this bot tower being taken out though, and it's in favor of Monomaniac. A nice little 200 gold lead actually comes from that. But still, you don't want to be making plays like that. If you make too many risky plays, you can get punished. You can lose the game as a result. And well, that's just not what you want to happen. You want to win these games. You don't want to let these little picks, these little snowbally effects happen because you wanted to go for a risky dive. Blowing the flash on Scar would have been enough, actually. And I think they'll be fine. I don't think that's going to be a big deal, but still, it might have been. It might have been. But looking across the lanes, everything's going back into place after that fancy dive. Zion Spartan and Voyboy just kind of sustaining against each other, doing their thing. Hexdrinker out for Voyboy just to go ahead, sustain a bit more. Take a little less damage from Voyboy, have that extra additional shield for the extra additional Voyboy damage. The Woda and CDR boots are out on Voyboy just to sustain extra hard. They're both just kind of sustaining, actually. And just hitting each other. I don't know what's going to happen from this. My guess is not much. Voyboy already back up to 1200 HP. Zion Spartan actually a bit lower after that exchange. Blue buff is being taken by Monomaniac eSports. Should be going to Paradoxical right this second. There it goes. Dragon should be up fairly soon. This would be a great time for Dignitas to contest. They can't let these dragons just keep going down. The timing is 1950, so 1 more minute and Dragon will be up. This will be the time for Dignitas to go ahead and try and do something. If they get picked off before this Dragon, though, it's going to be big. They can't give up a free dragon. I'm a cutie pie actually being soiled a bit by Paradoxical. A pick on I'm a cutie pie would actually be huge, but the big thing is Scarra has to be there doing the damage. Anything else won't be that big. If Boy comes down, it'll be great for Dignitas, but that's a chance for this tower to go down. More global gold to come out there. The ult goes out from I'm a cutie pie. It is shielded by Paradoxical. The damage is going out on a cutie pie. It is enough. Janna resets the fight. Will he be able to chase? Most likely not. And yeah, that's an escape. That was a chance for Monomaniac to get caught to die, but that great shield coming out from Paradoxical absorbs the Ashe ult. Really, just the damage it absorbed might have been enough too. She's down to 400 HP. Had she been CC'd at all, and actually takes a bit of cleaver damage, that could have been big, but it looks like the dragon will be contested. Their timing was off by a little bit. It is not 1950. It is 2003. So Paradoxical is in a risky spot. He can't let anybody get near him. Any cleaver lands, he will probably die as a result. And this is risky. They can try and seal this with Smite. The dragon goes to Team Dignitas. Will they be able to chase? Most likely not. Nope. Would have been a scary chase just because there's quite a bit of high sustained damage in Scarra, and I will dominate. So getting into that fight would have been risky, especially with Paradoxical so low. You know what? That was a mistake to go for that dragon at that moment and have it Smite stolen like that. But what is cool is that they did not chase. That could have been a chance for them to lose a ton of advantage going for this very risky chase, because it seems like what you should do. Yeah, it's a 4v3. Go for that chase. It makes sense, but Paradoxical was so low. And Dignitas knows how to fight. They know how to get these catches, get these picks, and punish somebody for chasing with low HP like that. So good job from Monomaniacs in not chasing. Bad job in getting that stolen. And back to the top lane goes Voyboy and Scion. I love this. They're just going to keep doing this non-stop. They're just never going to stop doing this. Going to be there, just beating each other up and accomplishing nothing but farming. And let's take a look at some CS and items, actually. As blue buff goes to Morgana, we have Nintendo Dex at 82 CS with Briggles. Nothing too big at the moment. There you go. Pixel 3 on Janna. Doesn't quite have a referee. Zon Spartan has a Hex Drinker still. Nothing else quite yet. Zig has the Infinity Edge, and Paradoxical has a Death Cap, which he loves to build on Morgana. I don't always agree with it, but he knows how to take advantage of it. They're not going for team fights as much as ganks, as pings are out onto the top lane. I Will Dominate Amundo has an Aegis. I'm a Cutie Pond Ashe is still only at BF Sword. And let's go ahead and finish that up later, as Voyboy is over here. He gets blinded by Paradoxical. He's stuck in place despite being pulled. The ult comes out from Para. Will this be enough? The heal comes out. The ult's on Paradoxical. Zon Spartan come here to finish them off. We also have Scarra and I Will Dominate showing up, as well as Locust. Pixel 3 is low. The kick sends him back. The Ashe ult does hit Pixel 3. It looks like it was shielded. Zon Spartan trying to get out of there. A great close. The binding lands on I Will Dominate. Nintendo Dex coming out on I Will Dominate, taking him low. Same time, Locust cut out of position. Damage coming out everywhere, but Dignitas on the run. I'm a Cutie Pie has finally shown up. So has Zig, though. Mundo goes down. Who's alive? Who's alive? Who's dying? I'm a Cutie Pie at low HP. Pixel 3 almost dead. Lee Sin dies to a volley. And I will dominate. I will Dignitas. And Team Dignitas will get out of there with 2 alive. A 1 for 3 exchange. Great job, Mono. They cannot pick Baron, I believe, because they're just low on HP. Pixel 3 will die to a very strong sneeze. And Nintendo Dex is at half HP himself. This could still be a Baron attempt. They will catch Scar with that binding, with that X. Scar goes down. That will be Baron. Poor Scarra. Well, what you want to do in these cases, you want to go ahead and check to see, alright, are they doing Baron? Because Scarra could have done some damage. He could have killed Pixel, he could have killed Nintendo. But, because they have such great ward coverage coming out from Monomaniac eSports, he couldn't get there safely. They decided, like, oh, he's coming? Let's just kill him. And the ward coverage is just not there for Dignitas. They don't have that Oracles, and Pixel 3 is able to roam so much more than Locust right now, especially just with the Janna move speed. Great job from Monomaniac. This is possibly game. It's 11-3. That's already game right there in a lot of situations, but you factor in the Baron, that might be enough. However, Dignitas is great at farming from behind. Not farming from behind, playing from behind. They're better at playing from ahead, as most teams are, but if they're behind, they're not necessarily out. We're getting a bit of FPS issue. Well, let's see how this works. The FPS drops are pretty noticeable, but at the end, you know what matters? Not that we see the game in full clarity, but we see the game. The skips being kind of an issue. Whatever. We will deal with it. Pings are out onto Dignitas' blue buff. They might be going for this contention. Going to be very hard for Dignitas to actually stop that if they go as a team. And it looks like they're not going to really contest. No one's really gone for it yet, actually. The middle of the map seems to be... Yeah, there we go. The middle of the map is being pushed in by Monomaniac. Great job, because you know you want to push with Baron buff. You want to do something. And it looks like they're getting quite a bit of poke onto this tower as my FPS drops to a whopping 3 FPS. The pushing is coming out. Is it enough? The shield's on Zion Spartan. He should be safe to go ahead and do those Wraith. Sorry, it's hard to tell what's going on myself, too. I might have to just go ahead and cut this recording. Oh, FPS is back. That was weird. But the push is out there from Monomaniac. The binding is coming out. They want to just get this tower. It's down to 1,000 HP. And we should be good to see this tower die. There it goes. Rest in peace, tower. We will remember your remains greatly. Zion Spartan getting a bit poked out in the front lane, but the Baron buff provides quite a bit of HP regeneration, so the stain will be more than enough to keep him alive. And it looks like they'll be going for this blue buff now, which is actually pretty cool. They pushed a bit, and now they're going to go for blue buff. Go ahead, take it in a situation where... Nope, going for bot lane. Dang. I wanted them to go for blue buff just because I called it when I was lagging, but I was wrong. And it's gone. The blue buff is gone. My mistake, guys. So this tower will be going down. And this is what you do with Baron. You go ahead, you roam around the map, you just take objectives. Take the easy objectives because they can't fight you here. Zion Spartan takes a bit of damage. Not too much, though. And it looks like we'll just have people backing up, being defensive. They don't want to go for any huge commitment because what's the point? Why go for a big commitment right now? Just fight safely. If they poke, you can poke back and you'll heal it up. Scar takes quite a bit of damage, actually. Zion Spartan out in front, taking a bit himself. The arrow comes out. The ult's out from Void Boy. A lot of damage coming out onto Monomaniac's. Perfect ult combination. It looks like Zion Spartan will be the first to die, or people will just be able to retreat safely. Ooh. Now, that was not the best thing for Monomaniacs, but the ult's still up on Morgana at least, and I'm a Cutie Pie gets hit by a binding. Paradoxical ult, I'm a Cutie Pie will go down here. The Ashel is not enough. Paradoxical flashes away. That was awesome. That was just awesome. That was a great play. He saved that ult in that team fight, didn't use it, and in the end gets a great pick on I'm a Cutie Pie. They should be able to push down this inhibitor with a little contention from Team Dignitas. What can they do to defend here? Vladimir ult's down. They might even lose Vladimir if he stays out too far. So they're just going to take this inhibitor back up. Go for Dragon right afterwards. Great play from Monomaniac. I love this aggressive style of play where it's like, alright, we haven't been a team for too long. They've only been a team for, I'd say, about a month at the time of this recording. So we've been a team for about a month. We can try ahead, you know, do some really execution-heavy strategies, or we can just play like crazy, be extra aggressive, just be mean as hell. And you know what? They went for the mean route because it's what they know. They know how to be aggressive. They know how to take advantage of solo queue. I'm not going to say that they're solo queue pub stars. I'm going to say that they're taking the knowledge that they have from solo queue and applying it so well. Because most solo queue players, this isn't solo queue. You can't play this like it's solo queue. But they're taking that solo queue style and just turning this aggression into a way that is really working out for them. And I love it. As FPS is hitting rock bottom. 7, 4. How low can it go? Pretty low, but will it stabilize? I have no idea. We have blue buff going out to Paradoxical. There it goes. And looks like they're going to go ahead and start getting some Baron coverage down. Baron has faded for them, so it will be up in the next couple minutes. If they can get the next Baron, that will probably be the end of the game for Team Dignitas. They're just so far behind in global gold, in kills, and everything. Even a bit in CS at this point. But we have just some map coverage coming out from Monomaniac, trying to get some good coverage out. Going ahead, taking out any lone wards they can. They're going to push down this top tower. Actually, it's going to be very hard for Dignitas to contest here, even though they have that map coverage. Like, they know they're there, and they don't have Baron buff. Dignitas just can't fight right now. Cleaver's coming out, but getting shielded by both Janna and Morgana. Double shield action for that extra anti-cleaver power as my camera freaks out. So what they can do here is they can just keep pushing up, kill this tower eventually, or just wait for someone to come down here and cover these minions. Because we have one super creep, a second will be showing up so shortly. That will push down those two next towers very quickly, actually. So it looks like we have a bit of action here. People are hitting each other. I can't tell what's going on. Spell effects are happening. I'm a Cutie Pie has been ulted down by Lee Sin. Damage coming out onto Monomaniac. FPS is stable. I Will Dominate is getting chased back. It looks like we have some great damage coming out onto I Will Dominate. He will be able to back off and escape. Well, the FPS has to drop and then come back right after the kill. Oh, you little replay, you. This ward, it being used as bait onto Skara. Great little play there. The ward does survive too with that shield from Zion Spartan. Skara going fairly low himself. The ult comes out from Paradoxical. He will die. I Will Dominate's also caught out of position. It's a 5v3 here. They're going to get this inhibitor for sure. Will it be able to finish the game? Possibly not. A bot tower has gone down to minions. Voyboy on the chase. Pixel 3 going low himself. The Ashel will be barely dodged, but also shielded by Paradoxical had it landed on him. And that's huge. Right now, Dignitas can't leave their base. If they leave their base, they only have one turret alive, so that will quickly die to these super creeps pushing. It's going to be up to Monomaniac just to go ahead. Bye. They have a ton of gold. See, a Quicksilver Sash finished on Olaf, who is now unstoppable. My god. And they're going to go straight for that Baron. Dignitas can't go for Baron. They can't really stop them at Baron. Anybody not in base is going to be at a position to die. So I Will Dominate's currently in a risky position. Looking at items, the big items out there now, we have an Abyssal Scepter finished for Paradoxical. Ziggs has a Infinity Edge and Phantom Dancer. Janet has a Reverie. Zion Spartan has a Malmortius. Oh my god. They're just so far ahead. They have a Frozen Mallet too. Voyboy has Woda and Rylai's. Skara has... what does Skara have? Oh, Skara has a Clairvoyance that reveals that Dignitas is here. Okay, Mono doesn't need to fight. They don't need to fight here. They can just wait. And eventually someone's going to have to go over here and deal with that, or the game will just end with minions pushing down the turret. And Dignitas is not going to let the game end like that. They're not going to let the game end with minions killing their turrets as they're out contesting Baron. I Will Dominate has been spotted by this ward. Locus has spotted this ward himself. This could be an attempt at a steal. Possibly not. They might just let it go. There you go. It was a cleaver steal being attempted there. But had they actually fought, it would have been very risky. No real point in it. I mean, yeah, alright. I Will Dominate could dive in there, steal Baron, and then die. But if he does that, they're just going to win the game. There is no chance for them to defend 4v5 at this point. Possibly 5v5. This might be the end of the game. They're going to kill this inhibitor. They might rotate bottom, kill that one if it respawns. But with this inhibitor down, you know what? They're just going to have so many super creeps pushing in, just so much damage coming out there from these super creeps. The super creeps will be enough to help finish the game with just some basic support from Monomaniac. This is their only chance right here to fight. Damage out on the Zion Spartan. He's fairly low himself. All comes out from Voyboy. The knockback from Pixel 3. Everybody's kind of in everybody. We have Paradoxical in the enemy team. Doesn't have a Zonius to survive. He goes down. Paradoxical has died. But we have Ziggs just doing so much damage from the back. Zion Spartan just burning people himself. Just damage everywhere onto Dignitas. And they will lose this game and go on to game 2. GG WP coming out. Great game for Monomaniac eSports. This has been Studio casting a game between Dignitas and Monomaniac. Hope you enjoyed this recording. And, well, good game, Monomaniacs. You guys played it very well. It's Studio saying adios, folks. And if you actually do watch this, look out for Monomaniac eSports under their new name. I believe it's... Ooh, Divine Gaming? Sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head. But Studio saying adios.